Peace, liberty, and freedom. No president valued these three traits more than Abraham Lincoln did. Abraham Lincoln being my favorite president, I've done a lot of research projects on him, so I've learned quite a bit. And he's done a lot for our country. And has anybody not heard of Abraham Lincoln? Like, he's one of our presidents. So. Alright, so our country would not be the same if he was not president, because he's done a lot for us. One being, he kept the nation together during the Civil War. 2, he abolished slavery. And 3, he shaped like the path to how we made our nation today. First, Abraham Lincoln kept the United States from splitting into 2 countries by winning the Civil War. And a true leader can rally their men to victory, and that's exactly what Abraham Lincoln did. He gave his troops morale by giving them speeches. And one of his most famous speeches he gave was the Gettysburg Address. And a little excerpt from his speech that he gave was, "It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain," which is basically saying that we need to win the war for those that have died fighting for the cause that they're fighting for. And then another quote that Abraham Lincoln said that I got from Lewis Lerman, a historian for the Smithsonian, states that it is my duty as President of the United States to keep our country together. And that's exactly what he did. He had to command the army while still trying to run the country. And on top of all that, he was fighting vampires. So when the Civil War ended and the Confederate Army signed the treaty, that was the day Abraham Lincoln sealed his name into the history books. Second, Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery. I think that's the biggest thing he did while he was our president. And even before the Civil War started, when he was first elected into office, he passed a lot of laws stating that enslaved people should have more rights and freedom. And that's basically why the Civil War started. So while it is kind of his fault the war started, he won and ended up fixing all his mistakes that he made. And he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed the slaves, but that didn't happen until after his death. And the importance of the Emancipation Proclamation, besides freeing the slaves, was that it gave the North 2 reasons to fight, and it was keeping the Union together and ending slavery in the U.S. And this was him during the Gettysburg Address and in the movie Lincoln. And then the third thing that he did was he shaped the path for how we made our nation today. Even after he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, everything he worked for continued. John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln and killed him, thinking that it would bring rise to the Confederate Army, but it didn't. It did the opposite. It pretty much killed the rebellion itself. And after his death, the Southern nations realized that Abraham Lincoln was just trying to keep peace between the nation. And it was after his death that the Emancipation got passed, and all the laws he passed finally passed in the South instead of just the North. And then finally, our nation is the way it is today because of Abraham Lincoln. Had he lost the Civil War, our country could be very different today. We could have been split into 2 nations. But he did many great things but his greatest achievements were keeping the U.S. together and abolishing slavery and shaping our country to what it is today. And even though it took many years for all this to pan out, I think he would be proud of how our country is now. And all the information I got was provided by Louis Lerman, a publisher and history researcher for the Smithsonian, and writers and editors from the History Channel, and some information from the University of Virginia.